right. We are live.
I can't believe it. We're live.
We're live.
I am going to disrupt this stoic calm. I'm gonna kill it.
I'm gonna have to take a piss, so disrupt all you like. But when I come back,
Yes.
the Battle of Stoic Calm.
Yes.
This is JP, the gun-owning pacifist, and the Conquest Ethic.
Yes, I'm being called out for no reason.
Yes. Well, I'm just questioning it, and this is grok.
Grok. We've grokked.
The philosophy. I gotta take. I have to go to the restroom real quick. Joey, can you take over? Well,
I sure can. All right. Now, while Brian trips over empty bags of Jack in the Box and God knows what else, so we've asked the question to Grok. JP, the gun-owning pacifist and the Conquest Ethic. This is why I need Brian to read it, because I don't know what he's talking about. Discussing the concept of a gun-owning pacifist like Joey in relation to Conquest Ethic requires delving into philosophical underpinnings of both. Here's how they might intersect or diverge. So I guess there's a lot of comments about pacifism, and because it's been brought up a couple times, and I do adhere to pacifistic philosophies, but I think Grok ends up saying a few. What do you think, Brian? Does Grok end up saying a few interesting things you may not have known about pacifism? Because I think there's a general misconception about pacifism, and that's like, are you going to wave a flower at a problem? And not all problems need flowers waved at them. So absolutely, there is a lot of practical misunderstanding, and maybe this will help clarify. We go through some of the points.
Well, I just wanted to add right now, and this might be over what I believe. The left has practiced the Conquest Ethic, particularly when it comes to freedom of speech and the internet, which used to be the information superhighway. And these people, in my opinion, treat us like peasants, like we're not worthy of even an explanation. And to me, one of the reasons I have Bud Light the ADL is because I think it's time for a peasant revolt. You're going to treat us like peasants. We're going to revolt like peasants. And hey, we're too dumb to deal with you. We're too dumb to spend our money. Also, and I think the peaceful way is through.
I'm not hearing dumb. Is that something you're hearing?
Well, yeah. They you're peons. We can't even, we're going to make these rules without any input from the rest of the public.
They're swarming the roads. They're coming for you. They are here, and it's absolutely, if you don't speak up as for yourself, in my view, the reason I do it is because I'm peaceably assembled, Brian. This is where my pacifist viewpoints begin. I am peaceably assembled. And if you understand that, even on a biological level, then you start to understand the importance of the validity of it, and why that, to me, supersedes the left-right paradigm. It just does. But that's in my view.
Well, okay. Number one, okay, we talked about the philosophical pacifism versus practical realism. You might be, JP, you might be a pacifist philosophically who opposes violence. However, a gun might represent a concession to practical realities, or a minimalist approach to self-defense, aligning not with conquest, but with the preservation of life and property.
What do I say? I mean, I've almost quoted this verbatim along the way, Brian.
Maybe you and Grok are
I am in alignment here.
You are in alignment with
preservation. Yeah, self-preservation. Fuck with my property. There's consequences.
And number 2, they deal with self-defense and the non-aggression principle, or self-defense and non-aggression. Let me turn this down a little bit.
Thank you.
Just a little bit.
It was like having a Kama Sutra moment.
There we go. So, self-defense and non-aggression. JP's gun ownership could be framed with a non-aggression principle. He might argue that owning a firearm is not about conquering or dominating, but about ensuring personal security in a world where not everyone adheres to pacifist ideals.
What does this have to do with anyone else? It's nobody's business, Brian.
Rights and freedoms. If you support gun rights, it might be from a standpoint of individual freedom and autonomy rather than an imperialistic view. This is a perspective.
100%, yeah.
It could be more about resisting potential tyranny or enduring personal sovereignty rather than conquest.
No, imperialistic views is all under maritime law. It really doesn't affect me.
Get off my ship. Okay.
Right.
Rights and freedoms. If you support gun rights, it might be from a standpoint of individual freedom and autonomy rather. Did we already say that one, Joey? Yes, we did. Okay, critique of power. Ironically, your stance might be a critique.
Hold on. If Joey supports gun rights, it might be from a standpoint of individual freedom and autonomy rather than imperialism. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, we did read that.
So
okay.
number 4.
Yeah. Let me read this one. Ironically, Joey's stance might be a critique of the conquest ethic. By being armed yet choosing to use violence, choosing not to use violence except in dire circumstances, he could be demonstrating that power, in this case, the firearm possession, need not lead to conquest or aggression. Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%.
All right. So, divergence.
Go ahead.
Joey's pacifism fundamentally disagrees with the conquest ethic, glorification of power through violence. His gun ownership isn't about asserting dominance or expanding influence, but about his own personal or communal safety.
Despite the fact that many people will test your ability to dominate a situation.
Intersections. However, if Joey engages in discussions or activities about gun rights, he might intersect with the conquest ethic in terms of defending a certain interpretation of freedom or rights. This could be seen as a form of ideological conquest where the battlefield is political or cultural rather than physical.
I have no idea what that is. Intersection? No, I want no part of an intersection. All it does is remind me of the cutting of the umbilical cord. Let's move on.
Moral paradox. Joey's position might be seen as a moral paradox where he acknowledges the potential necessity of violence in a world.
As author, I don't care what anybody draws up in their own mind, by the way. So go ahead.
Necessity of violence in a world governed by his pacifist ideals, thus indirectly engaging with conquest ethics worldview, but only as a last resort or in a defensive posture.
The pen is mightier than the sword, Brian.
You're correct on that. But yes. education and advocacy. If Joey uses his position to advocate for or educate on responsible gun ownership or nonviolent conflict resolutions, he might be attempted to influence or conquer the narrative around guns and violence, aligning somewhat with the conquest ethic, but in a nonviolent, intellectual, or moral sense.
I can't believe what they're saying is exactly what happened in Sandy Hook, which was a complete fraud.
Oh!
And a complete anyways, before we get kicked off, that, there's some things you can't say, but Sandy Hook actually played this out, and yeah, that's kind of a sad thing, but it does, for me, it strengthens my point that people will strengthen their side of the argument using false flag or non-existent events. So yeah, that's a sad thing. People are bought and sold by the media, it seems. Grok, take that. Not bad, Grok.
No, not bad at all. All right, guys, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Anything to add before we end this puppy, Joey?
Suck it.
Thank you very much.